Robots in space.
Hello everyone, I'm Mike DiVerde and I'm an aerospace engineer. In today's superluminal episode of Robots in Space, we'll discuss the latest updates from the Perseverance rover on Mars and the latest weather reported by Curiosity at Jezero Crater. Perseverance took this image on Sol 1396, which is January 23rd, 2025 for Earthlings. We'll spend a bit of time discussing this feature. The rock formations at the top of Hill 2 seem unusual. Kind of looks like a gigantic monster claw. Again, we look to Steve Alber's excellent map of the local area. The area that we zoomed up on is designated informally by Steve as Hill 2. And again, we look to Steve Alber's excellent panorama of the local area. The area that we zoomed up on is designated informally by Steve as Hill 2. Now we zoom up on Steve Alber's excellent panorama of the local area, and now you can see Hill 2 quite clearly, although it's still in the distance. Now that we've had a zoom out to take a look at the area that we're in, we're going to go back to the recent image from Perseverance of Hill 2 again. Now we have an extreme close-up on the intriguing features. This diagram shows some of the common features of an impact crater. I've highlighted the area that I think is relevant to the features that we see on Hill 2, impact melts. This diagram from the Lunar and Planetary Institute shows a cross-section schematic of a complex crater on the Moon, showing the locations of the different types of impact melts and impact breccias. Impact melt deposits can exist in a variety of structures and morphologies. Large kilometer-sized impact melt layers, kilometer to meter-sized isolated bodies within the crater interior and rim region, which is, I think, what we're focused on today, that type. There can be meter to centimeter sized glassy lenses and particles mixed within impact breccias in and outside of craters. There can be meters to centimeters thick impact melt dikes intruded into the crater floor, the central peak, and or the crater wall. And the last version is discrete centimeter to millimeter sized glass particles distributed hundreds to thousands of kilometers from the crater center. Lava on Earth is shown here for comparison. You can see similar structures as the monstrous fingers on Mars. This type of lava is a particularly sticky, viscous lava that flows in areas like Hawaii, as versus the explosions of sprays of ash that happen in other volcanic systems. Back to the Hill 2 image briefly to remind you of the shapes. Now I have added the blue curves that you see on the image here. I've added these curves to Hill 2 image to outline the shapes of the fingers. I want to emphasize them briefly for you to help you pick them back out again as we switch back to the original photo. Back to the Hill 2 image so that you have a chance to see the structures as they appear. My suggestion is that Perseverance has taken images of impact melts. I'm sure that there are other explanations for these structures. However, it is clear that it is an interesting specimen. Well, If there are impact melts, then where are the craters? Frankly, the evidence is very weak. I'm showing two copies of Steve Alber's excellent map that shows Hill 2. On the left, I'm adding a blue curve of the faint line of a possible crater. On the right, the same map without markings so that you can judge for yourself. Is it there or is it not? So we're on to my favorite section, the weather report from Gale Crater. Curiosity is taking daily weather measurements at Gale Crater in the southern hemisphere of Mars near the equator. At this location, it is currently middle autumn. On Sol 4431, which is January 22nd for Earthlings, the high was 7 degrees Fahrenheit and the low was 101 degrees Fahrenheit. Omni Futurists.